right, welcome back. Tax season underway, and today Ryan Dodson with Liberty Tax Services and Kevin Robinson with Robinson Tax and Accounting are here with answering your questions. All right, so this person asking, Kevin, if my child works, can I still claim them on my taxes? And at what point can I no longer claim them?
Well, basically, technically, if their child's a full-time student, meaning they go to school 5 months of the year, then they can claim them up to age 24. And as long as they provide over half the support of their child and they live with them over half the year and provide all other conditions are met, they should still be able to claim them up to age 24 as a full-time student, technically up to age 19 if they're not a full-time student.
But that student can also do their own tax return, correct?
Well, the student basically, yes, the student can file their own tax return, say W-2 for summer job, and still be claimed by their parents. The student just needs to notate on their return that they are claimed by their parents, so they don't get, the parent gets a shock when they go to e-file the return and their student daughter's already filed the return claiming themselves.
Yeah, as a dependent. Okay. All right, Ryan, this person says, how can I reduce my tax bill?
Yeah, Kenya, right after the end of the year, there's only a couple things you can really do to reduce your tax bill, and the main one is make a contribution to your individual retirement account, and you have up until the due date of your tax return to get that in and get that filed. So that's the biggest thing you can do afterwards.
Okay, and so at this point, you can't make any other deductions, but that is one that you can do. Okay, all right. Absolutely. The next one says. All right, we're constantly hearing to expect a lesser federal tax refund this year versus last year. What has changed? Who might be affected by this change? Kevin, let's talk about why we're looking at smaller refunds.
Well, a couple of ideas, Tanya, on smaller refunds. People need to keep in mind there's no recovery rebate credit on the return for 2022 as there was for 2020 and 2021. And the recovery rebate was basically the stimulus payment on the return for people who may not have gotten the stimulus. The other thing, of course, is mentioned is as Ron had mentioned, the child tax credit went down to $2,000, and the child dependent care credit went down too.
So sorry, I had to cough there, but there's also one more thing there I want to make sure people don't miss, and that's the charitable contribution. And
right, the charitable contributions, the extra charitable contributions for non-itemizers, 2021 300 single, 600 filing jointly, that went away. So unless they have enough to itemize with their charitable contributions, they just get the standard deduction.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about this. This person says, if I'm unable to pay the full amount that I owe the IRS as of April 18th, which is tax day, by the way, can I start sending in any amount? How does that work, Ryan?
Yes, Tanya, you can send in any amount you want at any time. Trust me, the IRS will take your money. But what is most important is making sure you file that tax return, because if you do not file a tax return by April the 18th this year, then you're subject to a failure to file penalty, which is 5% per month, up to 25% within the first year. So that $4,000 tax bill will be $5,000 by the time you get to September. So make sure you can do it. You can send it in through the irs.gov or pay.gov. There's two different ways, or you can just mail in a check.
Okay, good enough. All right. The next question is, how can I find out where my refund is? And that's what everybody wants to know. Kevin?
Well, a couple of different ways, Tanya. Of course, one of the ways people try to go to irs.gov, where's my refund link, and check it out there, but that's not always the best way. But I would encourage people to set up an online account in their name and their social number and password protect it, and that will give them pretty much their history that's on file. And that's probably a better way to go, is to set up an online account with the IRS and check on the refund.
Okay. And quickly, Ryan, what are like some of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're doing their taxes?
Number one, not making sure they have all of their documents, because you have to remember that job you may have worked in January or February of 2022. That's mistake number one. Mistake number two, not keeping track of all of the details. If you're claiming something as mileage, or you have your own business, making sure you have the receipts, making sure you've tracked your mileage and you have a solid accounting of all of that. Those are two really the big mistakes that I see folks get in trouble with the IRS.
Okay. All right. And so this next question is, What free tax filing sites are available and what are the limitations of using a free tax site? So this is what we want to put up. The IRS, irs.gov, has free e-filing for you, and that is if you make $73,000 or less. And the free e-file are actual, like, real brand name tax software that they will help and walk you through as well. So we're going to be putting this in the Two Wants to Know web story as well. And we thank our guests. Thank you so much, Ryan and Kevin, for your time and your expertise. And you'll find this all in WFMYnews2.com.